My chainsaw was too small for this giant ambrosia maple, but I did grab some smaller chunks from the top. This is still a major blank that is about 100 pounds. I cut the corners off with a battery-powered chainsaw, and then I put the 6-inch faceplate on, and all I do to center it up is just kind of measure all the way around, make sure it's close to the same distance. I think about 7 inches on this. And now I'm going to screw in some decking screws. They don't break, seem to work pretty good. To get the blank threaded on the headstock, I went ahead and turned the lathe on at a slow speed of 48 RPMs.
Whoa, heavy. Oh, this thing's heavy. Now we'll try to hold it up here. Get it to thread on. There it is. Whoa. Okay, I got this thing mounted. It's fairly balanced. I can get it up to about 200 RPM. You could probably get it a little better than that, but I'm just going to deal with it.
I ran out of time, and you want to make sure that if you can't get these roughed out, to cover them up in a plastic bag so they will not dry out and split. They will split overnight on you. Okay, here I am. I'm going to start roughing this out. This is on a time lapse. I don't know what the speed is here, but I normally like to just start more towards the bottom and do more of a peeling cut on the side grain. That way you're not beat to death by the bowl blank that's not very round. So if you work your way from the bottom up and try to get to where you can have bevel support. See how I have bevel support most of the way? Right there at the end I don't. But at the bottom you can tell if you have bevel support because you'll see the really big shavings coming off. Here I'm doing a peeling cut with the wing just to get the top of the bowl balanced. And now just continuing, you can see bigger shavings coming. This is because I'm been able to turn the speed up a little bit and it is almost round. So this is when it gets fun. If you haven't turned green wood, try it out. It'll really increase your confidence. The tools will not get as hot as with dry wood, and you don't need to sharpen your tools nearly as often, and you will be able to just remove so many shavings. Really will give you some confidence. The only problem with turning wet wood is dealing with the drying process.
As I was turning right there, you might have noticed that the wood shavings covered up my gouge and I couldn't see what I was doing. A lot of times when I'm turning, I'm actually not looking at where my tool is. I'm actually looking up here at the top of the bowl and I'm watching the wood be removed, the shadow. Like, so I see the bowl like a lip, and I'm watching that lip go away. So I can watch my progress, and I can see, you can see just the finest detail if you like took your gouge in a little too much or whatever. So sometimes I find it easier to watch up here than down here where my tool is. So that's what I was doing.
My rule of thumb on turning dry bowl blanks or wet is the bigger the bowl blank, the more I want to turn those wet because there's just so much wood to remove. And the smaller the bowl blank, I kind of prefer to do those dry so I don't have to do the drying process, rough them out and return them. Here I'm going to put a mortise on this. I only put a mortise that fit my size 3 one-way jaws, which is not the biggest jaws I have. And this is about 100-pound bowl blank. So I think it's 20 some inches. So I was impressed that the one-way number 3 jaws did not break and nothing happened. And you could kind of see my mortise there. It was probably, I don't know, 3/8 to a 1/2 inch deep. I know some people have issues with them blowing out or having tenons break off. I think it's normally, I mean, you might have some junky wood, but normally I think the reason people are having issues is they're getting a catch or something. man, there's the amount of force that catches really can cause issues.
Well, this is a rough cut bowl and it's super wet. The water is coming out the ends here, and I've got to get this. You got to get these things turned as quick as you can so that they don't crack. And I want to see how thick I want to leave the walls here. If you make the walls too thin, then when this bowl dries, it will distort so much that when you remount it on your chuck to try to make it round, it'll be such an oval shape that there won't be enough thickness to actually get a round bowl, and so you pretty much have wasted your time. I've done that in the past. So a solution is to make your walls thicker so that it don't distort as much, and so that you have more wall thickness to re-true it up and make it round. But you don't want to make it too thick, because the thicker you leave your walls, the more chance that as it's drying, it can't warp at all, and then it'll crack instead of warp. So the rule of thumb that most people go by is you want your wall thickness to be 10% of the diameter of the bowl. So I am at about 19 inches, so about about 2 inches or so. So I'm going to take it off, make it about 2 inches. So that's what I'm going to do.
I made this 2 inches, but after one night, it started to crack. So I had to remount it, take maybe another ½ inch or so off, and I'm hoping that it don't crack.
This bowl is still heavy. Hope I made the walls thin enough. I don't know. I'm going to paint some Elmer's glue all the way around this thing, and hopefully it doesn't crack when it dries.
So keep an eye on these. You can always remount them and turn them a little thinner so that they won't crack. But like I said, do not turn them too thin, or they'll warp so much that you will not be able to get a round bowl out of them.